The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back. The Mets in the Zone, Comfortably Radio Network. I'm Ralph Tyko, and the two Met Mavens are both here. Marty Rose, how are you?
I am good, Ralph. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Robert Cole is here. I was telling him, Robert, how are you?
Doing good. I'm staying off the IL so far.
Good. I was telling him not to worry. I'm inoculated. 2 shots down and only the booster to go.
Yeah.
So
very good.
I feel good about that. I'm going to leave the island of Alameda for the first time in a year.
Wow.
In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, when it all takes hold, I don't think I've been out of the house 12 times in a year.
I know.
So it's almost like getting out of prison, but you have to play defense to stay alive. That's how I look at it. And so up to the moment, I have done that. Oh my God! Oh, never mind. Robert and I were talking off the air a little bit about the injury situation. Why don't you catch us up? I'll start with the 2 hamstring injuries. Both MRIs have proved negative or positive, depending on how you want to look at it. No structural damage. So those were the injuries I worried about the most. DeGrom seems to be okay, making a rehab start.
Yeah,
catch us up a little.
Yeah, did you see how he did tonight?
No.
3 innings, 41 pitches, no hits, no walks, 8 Ks.
Holy shit.
I think he's ready.
well, you know, like I wrote back to you, Marty, major league hitters can't hit him. I sure didn't expect low A hitters to be able to hit him.
No, but at least he got through it. He threw 41 pitches. That's the main thing,
right.
that he can get through it. So I would expect that he should start probably next Tuesday against Colorado.
Well,
and
one of you,
Syndergaard pitched well too, right?
He did. Yes, he did. Yep.
One of you called it right. I think it might have been Robert, but it might have been you, Marty. Where to send him for his rehab? Port St. Lucie, the weather is so much better than Syracuse.
Oh yeah.
And one of you pointed it out, and I thought, boy, I play with some incredibly bright Met Mavens. Talk about the pitching roster, if you will. Marty Rose, Met Maven number 1.
Well, the starting rotation at the moment is just completely up in the air. They have 2 healthy guys, Stroman and Peterson. And neither one of them has been pitching all that great the last time out. So I think what they might do is have 2 minor leaguers, guys coming up from the minors to pitch 2 of those games in Miami, because they pulled that Zapucki guy out of his start, and they pulled Yamamoto out after 2 innings,
right?
Or one way or the other, whatever. So they both could get starts in Miami, and then, like I said, I think DeGrom should be back by next Tuesday. So if Stroman goes tomorrow, then the only thing they got to worry about is Monday, which could be another bullpen day, which they won. The bullpen days haven't been as bad as I thought they would be.
Yeah, except those guys are just absolutely wasted. I mean, fortunately last night, okay, they lost, but fortunately it didn't go into extra innings. If they had gone into extra innings, they might have had to call in Ralph from Alameda.
Well, do they need a lefty? That's the question.
Ralph, if you can get the ball to the plate on less than one bounce, you're in.
Well, the definitive word was words were less than one bounce. But it's 73. If you can get me to the plate at age 73 in less than one bounce, I'd be happy.
I'm looking at the IL right now. They have 16 players on the IL. 16, including guys from Syracuse and from Brooklyn. Okay, not counting those guys. So, I mean, their roster is in a shambles. Okay, they have very little,
and they're still in first place.
Yep.
So,
And they have very little maneuverability. That's the problem right now. Is they really have nobody to bring up.
Marty, you laughingly said they're still in first place.
Well,
there has to be a reason, and I think the reason is primarily the bullpen.
Yeah, bullpen's been really good. No question about it.
Hats off to Familia. Never thought I'd see him as effective as he's been again. I mean, first they dealt him off to Oakland. He comes back didn't have a particularly good year in Oakland. Comes back, doesn't have a particularly good year when he came back. And through it all, there he is. Something to be said about experience and maybe having a good chemist.
You never know.
Never know. Anyway, catching, Nito, not doing a bad job.
Go figure.
Who?
What can you say about Nito? I mean, the only drawback that Nito has is he doesn't throw down the second all that well. McCann is much better thrown to the bases. He threw out the guy at third the other night, and he throws down to second really well. But lately at the plate, he's been like an automatic double play.
And McCann has not been hitting particularly well.
No.
So that may end up being a bit of a problem. Alonso today, one of you wrote me about his situation. What's that about?
Well, he got hit in the wrist a couple of weeks ago, and I guess it's been bothering him ever since. Maybe that's why he's been looking so bad at the plate. But they expect him to be back in the lineup tomorrow, from what I saw.
Oh.
So
okay.
They just wanted to give him the day off. It was like a little soreness there that was bothering him, so they gave him the day off. But it doesn't seem to be that serious. So yeah, they did say he should be back tomorrow.
Well, not only podcasters, just fans in general would really like a little bit more transparency from the Mets. And this has been going on for, I don't know if it's other teams as well. Why does the espionage go on? Why can't they just say, this guy's hurt, he'll be back, we expect him back, blah, blah, blah. That's
probably got something to do with not letting the opposition know exactly what's going on. You know,
yes,
keeping it from them, so they keep it from us too. You know, so.
Yep.
Okay.
That's very true.
But it is frustrating.
It is, no question.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the no-hitters. Is this what do you guys attribute to the rash? What is it, 6 no-hitters, and it's May?
Something like that, yeah. I don't know. To me, if you're asking me, they did something to the ball. They never really said what they did to the ball, but maybe they just raised the seams. Because
that's what I read a blurb about.
Because
just raising.
Because if they did that, it takes a little of the, it adds a little extra drag, to the hitting, to the distance, and it gives the pitcher a much better grip. So if that could be it. Well,
not only a better grip, but raised seams. Okay, the big thing right now is rotation and spinning the ball, and raised seams allows the pitcher to spin the ball much more than with the closed seams.
Yep.
Marty, you may remember that raising the seams is what did me in at Elm Jack Little League when we tried out that time.
Oh, my God. Boy, that was one of... I was
60 years ago?
Yeah, probably more than that, actually. Sure, yeah. What were we, 12, 11? I don't even remember. But all I know is that, I did just as good as everybody else. But I was probably one of the smallest kids there, which didn't help either. But
Marty, you were fast and stocky. You had punch. You were not a Kirby Puckett type.
My dad couldn't help. My dad couldn't help out. That's probably why. A lot of the dads were able to help out, after work. My dad couldn't because he worked, swing shift or overnights, whatever,
And my dad was never available for any of that stuff, but just the way it was, they just shouldn't have taken it out on the kids. But I remember I didn't have a bad tryout, and you had a terrific tryout. And when I didn't make it, I felt like shit.
Yeah.
But when I found out that you didn't make it, I felt like shit for you more than for me because you had punch and you're a good athlete, as witnessed by your basketball in the pool prowess on Facebook.
That was harder than it looked, and I was like 5 or 6 feet away. The ball, when you're standing in a pool, the ball is wet and heavy, and your feet are flat on the ground. I'm not used to that, It was just like, it just took me about 20 tries to get one in. It was unbelievable. My daughter's laughing at me there, It was funny.
But you had the form for the picture.
Yeah, right.
It's the fundamentals that matter. Anyway, what's going on with you, Robert? Marty's vacation was fun. What are you doing for fun? I'm just curious.
Well, actually, in a couple of weeks, my wife and I are going to go across state to Vero Beach for a few days.
Nice.
Good.
So while we're over there, I'm going to look up, the old Dodger town is still there and being used for amateur sports. So I'm going to go over there, take a look at that, see what that looks like now.
Oh, they have all the fences, I'm sure, with the names of the players, Clem Labine Boulevard or whatever. Wow. A little history just wears off on you. So, anything new with the Mets coming up? Anything in this next series that you guys think is going to be instrumental in their success or failure?
Well, it all depends on if they have enough healthy bodies. I mean, I was
going to say it's hard to analyze them when you don't even know who these guys are for the most part. Mabin, one of you said that he was overpaid.
Overpriced for $1. That's what I said.
yeah, that's what it cost. He cost $1.
Yeah. But the guy is washed up. I mean, obviously he can still run and he can catch a fly ball, but he can't hit, I don't think. And this other kid, Lee, he looks like an athlete. He looked great in the field. He can't even make contact. I mean, he was struck out like 8 times in 3 games. My God,
Yeah. Well,
they're rushing.
Let's look at the roster, tomorrow, all right? They've got VR, Lindor, Alonso, Smith, McCann, Peraza, Fargas, and Lee penciled in as the starting lineup. Okay? Yeah, and if that's the starting lineup, your bench players are Nito, Mazika, Tovar, Hagar, and Mabin. Okay?
This is pathetic, really.
And we were, at the beginning of the year, marveling over their depth. Can you imagine if they didn't have the depth?
Oh, boy. Well, Davis may be back soon. If Davis comes back, they can move Villar over to second. So that put a little more punch in there. Little.
Right.
But they need outfield guys. My goodness.
Well, what they may wind up having to do is putting Davis back in the outfield again, like he was last year.
Oof.
Oh,
I never thought of that.
That's not a bad idea at all.
Well, at least Alonso should be back, so therefore Smith can go back to left.
How about Nemo? When does he get back?
He had a setback.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a little while ago. It was like a week ago already. He had that setback, so I haven't heard anything about him since then. Nothing.
Yeah. So
how about the Yankees coming down with COVID after taking their shots? How do you figure that?
Well, that's going to happen. They say, you don't get as sick. Chances are you don't have to go to the hospital. But still, they recommend, masking and stuff like that. Major League Baseball says once everybody is got their shot, you don't have to worry about masks. You don't have to worry about social distancing. You can go around, doing like you used to do. And so that's not working out 100%. 2 of the guys at Syracuse, 2 of the Mets pitchers are on the COVID list.
Oh.
Right. So that they were able to take them off the 40-man roster on account of that. So you don't know if, they had a roster crunch. So you don't know if these guys really have that or they just say they had that to get the roster space.
Yeah, well, that would be almost diabolical.
Well,
if
times are
not
tough,
that it wouldn't happen. You're like assuming these guys have a political career in front of them. Well, that was well done, son. You can be a congressman, and you a senator. Well, I thought of the idea. All right, you a senator too. We'll make you a senator. What a world we.
Yeah, I mean, their roster problem is they have nobody really in the minor leagues that is on the 40-man. Because everybody that's on the 10-day IL has to be counted on the 40-man.
Right.
So right now they don't have anybody in the minor leagues. In fact, that one catcher they just picked up, Grulon, who was on the 40-man, they had to DFA him just to make room for somebody else. So they have nobody right now in the minor leagues.
Don't they have the mulligan rule for 12 injuries? And doesn't that buy you a mulligan? Or maybe that's a different sport.
Should, really.
And who mentioned they're in first place?
Yes.
So imagine what... Right. They played great against the Braves, I will say. But what's the expression? Manic depressive. They're up and down to the point where it's crazy. Now you can't even judge when they're down because they're so depleted. So, but in 2 weeks, things will be different when you and I, Marty and Robert, will be back at you again. Anything you guys want to close with that we haven't talked about? That any ideas that you want to express?
No, I'll just say that the next time we chat, hopefully we have a lot of guys back. I mean, I expect Walker to be back. I think Lugo might be back by then. And I don't know about Carrasco. I haven't heard anything about him. But, like I said DeGrom will definitely be back next week. So, I think, I don't know about the other guys, the everyday guys that are hurt. Not hearing anything about them. But, if we got the pitching back, then that's a big part of it. Very big part.
Yeah, well, and you didn't mention Syndergaard. Syndergaard should be...
Right, exactly. Yeah. He's almost ready, too.
Yeah, so if you get Walker, DeGrom, and Syndergaard back, well, you're back having a 5-man rotation at least.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. In the best of times, we never had all 5 guys working at once.
No.
I mean, say the last 5 years, for sure. So
True.
That part will be nice, and the rest of it is, I look at it as a crapshoot.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that the Mets announcers were talking about the other night was the amount of soft tissue injuries. Okay, in this day and age when you have all this medicine and, sports medicine and nutrition and all this stuff, okay, and yet almost everything is a soft tissue injury, and you would think that would be gone. I mean, I'm looking at the list right here, okay, sprained finger, strained oblique, strained hamstring, shoulder contusion, sprained hamstring, bone finger bruise, knee surgery, facial fractures, of course, that's PR,
right.
elbow soreness, strained hamstring, side tightness, okay, Tommy John surgery, elbow surgery. So, I mean, it's...
Well, it's disgusting for one, but would you say with all these hamstring injuries and all these obliques and stretching, the stretching program may suck?
Yeah, and are they doing the running that they're supposed to be doing? Probably not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and, some of them I think are just too muscle bound. They have, the muscles are too finely tuned. Because, you look back at, the superstars of old, okay, Willie Mays never got hurt. Mickey Mantle, other than the fact that, he tore his knee up in a drainage ditch, but other than that, he really didn't get hurt. Hank Aaron never got hurt. these guys never got hurt, but
a lot of it could be weightlifting too. A lot of it with the weightlifting, you don't realize it, but I mean, it just doesn't do the arms. It affects your leg muscles too. When you're doing that stuff. So maybe they should knock that off.
I mean, because
when these guys are coming up, they're thinking, "What's going to make me the big bucks?" That means power. And power. That's pretty much the pay scale. It is unfortunate. And what is also unfortunate is that what with the cutback in the minor leagues, there's a cutback in instruction. So once these guys come up, they're not prepared to. I mean, it's a lower level for everybody, but the fan is getting cheated out of the fundamentals that these guys are taught. And the disgrace to that is that the natural ability has never been stronger. In other words, these guys are really talented, but they don't have the baseball talents that that guys in our generation would develop without that. And they were good, but had they the natural ability and the developed talent, imagine how great they would have been. But
when you stop and think about it too, okay, maybe they get too much formal instruction. Okay, we used to learn things, in the schoolyard when we used to play against each other. Now everything is formalized. There's no more 6 or 8 guys going down to the schoolyard and playing baseball. Now it's everything with a coach and, being taught this and taught that. And fundamentals are kind of getting, put by the wayside. I mean, you look at a guy try to bunt, they don't even know how to do that.
They don't, and plus they don't know how to say, get him on, get him over, get him in. So doing what it takes, not only to bunt, but just put the ball on the right side of the infield, if nothing else, gets him over. No interest in that.
Yeah. Plus, everybody's yelling about the shift. They got to outlaw the shift, and in the minor leagues now, they're trying. You can still shift, but all 4 infielders have to be on the dirt. None of them can be on the outfield grass. That's a new experiment that they're trying. Well,
that makes sense. That makes sense. But you have to even out the infields in every venue, because the infield dirt in some venues are different than others. But the theory does make sense. How about this? If beat the shift, I can't come up with a marketing thing. If the 3 of us bought a team, we teach nothing but how to go the other way against the shift. Hit them where they ain't. We really keeler. You used to say that before we were born.
Yep.
So, and there's none of that. And I don't know if we covered last week the potential home run derby in extra innings. They're experimenting with that in the minors. There'd be like in hockey.
And
the shootout. Right, exactly. Is this what we want our baseball, precious baseball, to have evolved in?
I hope not.
I hope not.
I like I said before, I'd much rather you play 1 full inning, okay, the 10th inning regular, and then make it a tie, and then give each team a point in the standings. But what they're doing right now, all this nonsense is it's an abortion.
Yep.
Yeah. To say nothing of bastardizing the record books. that we so drooled over. Who did this? Who did that? What's the record? And I was thinking of you, Robert, the other day, because the last time I mentioned this, I would like to have a current red who's who in baseball sitting on my nightstand or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I certainly miss that more than any other record book out there. So
and you had that. Okay, you had the Street and Smith yearbook that came out every year, which I used to love.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
Okay.
That was great. And then you had coverage by 11 newspapers in one city. Missed that. But I have to admit, the internet is quite a prize. Do you know the scores? We'd be walking to Newtown the next day and not know the scores of the night before.
Yes.
And
when the Dodgers and Giants moved, okay, and I was still a Dodger fan at that point, and they were playing on the West Coast. I wouldn't know until after I got home from school and got the afternoon newsday, okay, whether they won or lost.
Right. Tell me, Robert, did you ever consider becoming anything else but a Dodger fan in those days after they moved? Were you pissed?
Oh, yeah, I was pissed. Okay. I became a fan of the 7 other teams in the American League who played the Yankees.
I can remember doing that too, and I look back and now I respect those guys of the 50s, those Yankees of the 50s, incredible teams that they had. What we hated was ownership. We didn't not respect the players. I can remember loving Gil McDougall for one reason or another. And he beat the Giants in the World Series in 1951. He was instrumental in the Yankees win. And I still ended up liking him. I liked Junior Gilliam. Had nothing to do with the teams they played for. But looking back, all 3 teams that we had, what a privilege. You grow up in New York, you think that it's a birthright to the World Series, to being in the World Series.
In the 50s, it was.
Yeah.
Sure was.
And well into the 60s.
Right.
So
54, yeah.
We were blessed with a lot of great baseball memories. And and we have selective memory too. We can block out the memories that weren't all that great. And just
right, and all we have to do is say, "But I'm an old man. I can't remember."
Remember what? I lost you there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Another great show. Making the best of it. Again, not much to analyze when you don't know what to analyze.
Yeah.
So we did the best we could. I'll take the responsibility. How about that? Thank you, Marty Rose. Thank you, Robert Cole. The situation notwithstanding, it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Seriously.
Always
Comfortably Zoned. Always fun. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all. Happy trails. And
good night.
Good night.
Come back soon.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.